Hello everyone, I'm Forrest McFreelava, and this is going to be something different. We're going this time to take a look at the CSA in Victoria 2, starting off from, well, July 1st, 1861 in the CSA start date, essentially. And we're going to do something pretty different in that we're going to be playing two different games in parallel in order to find out which philosophy is the most productive philosophy in Victoria 2. The two philosophies we're going to be testing is we're going to be a conservative style CSA where we attempt to keep our slaves and keep the United States down so that they're not powerful enough to annex us. This is in the vanilla, so the United States of America has cores on all of our lands and will keep those cores until the end of the game. So one solution to that is that we're just never going to make peace with the United States of America. We will defeat their armies in the field, then we will occupy their country, and then we will keep the occupation going until the end of time. You know, or at least until we're guaranteed that they won't be able to become more powerful than us. Although maintaining the occupation forever is the ultimate way to do that. The other idea is that we will instead probably free the slaves at some point when we get enough factories that we start to really need them in our factories rather than just in the fields, because there's really no reason to be an agricultural state in Victoria 2 once you get your industry going. So we'll probably get rid of slavery, we will make peace with the United States, and we will try to not get annexed by them, not because we're just holding them down, but because we're going to be more powerful than they are. And just through our power, we will be able to resist their influence and their ability to just roll armies in and annex us. So it'll be interesting. Anyway, the first thing we have to do, though, before we get into any of that, is we're going to have to win the war. We start off with the basic, just encouraging bureaucrats. That's actually, we don't need to do that. Let's take a look. Looks like we'll only need to do that in Texas, which we'll go ahead and do right now, and Oklahoma. So we'll go ahead and do those things. It's just really just the first thing to do. Set the national foci up so that we're not wasting them. From that, though, we get oh, well, not really from that, but the next thing we have to do is our biggest export is cotton. And what we're going to do is we're going to just get as much cotton as we can. We're going to store it up till at least, let's say, 504, because we get a decision, which is really going to help us quite a bit to win the war, which is King Cotton. Once we have 500 cotton, we gain 5 prestige, lose the cotton, and all the great powers in the world get a casus belli on the United States of America. So we're going to do that, and hopefully get the United Kingdom to intervene on our behalf. We cannot ally them or anything like that. They don't really like us too much, which is deeply unfortunate. If we're very lucky, Mexico will rise up and attack the United States, but they're only going to do that once we've already won the war. So it's not really anything to worry about or to hope for, and it'll just make the borders look kind of awful. At any rate, we're going to go ahead and just build up as much of an army as we can. I'm not actually sure how much of these forces we can realistically expect to actually be produced, because we're going to have a lot of difficulty getting the resources to actually build our armies. Whether that means trading for them, we might not have the income, or just producing them domestically, we might just not have the production. That's not really something I know off the top of my head, and I haven't actually looked it up, which I probably should have done. Also, we're pretty limited. We can only tax our people up to 50%, so we're going to be tariffing them just all the way to the end of the world. We won't fund our Navy because it can't win. And we're just going to fight this war on a massive deficit. On a massive deficit. I'm not sure if you're able to hear that or not. Anyway, another thing we're going to do is we're just going to pile our armies over here and just try to defend Virginia. And we'll split our armies up and try to goad the United States into attacking us. We won't go into Huntington because that 2% attrition is kind of scary. It's just 2% attrition anytime you're trying to occupy someone else's land. And we will rally all of our troops in Charlottesville, which, yeah. Anyway, so we'll see how that goes. We'll also research, let's see, We'll get steam turbines right now. Steam turbines. Or, see, because empiricism is good for that technology, and in fact, we'll actually go for that. Well, no. As much as technological advancement is nice, we're going to need our economy to be boosted up more than anything else, at least in the early game. Alright, so our armies are all just kind of shuffling over. We're also going to just run on in and steal Washington, D.C., since the Americans are leaving it alone. Or I guess since the Yankees are leaving it alone, to get more, I guess, in character about this. So they'll probably turn around and try to just smash our army. I'm not entirely sure, but that seems likely. Seems like it would make some sense. They are mobilizing, which is really to be expected. Okay, it looks like we're still trading cotton. Let's see. There we go. We're no longer exporting our cotton. That'll help us a lot. I just clicked the wrong direction on that one. Alright, and we'll just shuffle our armies together, hopefully get that all to work. They're really sending their army just en masse over here. Anywhere that they attack us will be forested at least, so that's decently helpful. Although they have just such a large army that I'm not sure we'll actually be able to win this if they do charge in. Looks like they're all going to Bowling Green, which is at least a little intimidating. That's very odd, they're just going around us. Well, we can just kind of roll in and start occupying all of their core territories. We can also make that King Cotton thing event decision. It's a decision, make the King Cotton decision. And there we go. Now hopefully the United Kingdom, which is not at war, will see the United States as a pretty decent target and go after them. And yeah, you know, I guess we'll just kind of match them. Their army is significant, but yeah, I don't know. If we can just avoid conflict, you know, I guess it's not really, yeah, I guess avoiding conflict in this civil war, then that would be probably one of the better ways to go about it. We'll just leave that group merged, and we'll just shuffle the rest of these forces over. So yeah, it looks like they're just kind of going back and forth right there. Not entirely sure where that'll end up going, but we do have to defend our forces over in Washington. Because that's really the big threat, is that they'll smash one of our armies and then we'll be too weak to actually resist. Oh, alright, well I messed that up. Let's just go and defend that. We're going to lose our siege on Washington, or lose the occupation, but that's okay. And we'll move the rest of our forces over. Oh, it looks like we're also going to get this battle in Roanoke in 2 days. Alright, so that actually worked out decently well. Really, all of the battles are going as well as we could have expected or hoped. Maybe, I mean, even better in a way. So we are losing quite a lot of men, though, which is a terrible issue. And I guess we'll see if we can just withstand. Because our soldiers definitely seem to be underperforming. But we did win the battle. Not really in anything I would call a decisive manner. And the Americans do have just a ton of forces. The Yankees just have a ton of forces just all around. Looks like they're retreating to Washington, which is great. We can just follow them there. And yeah, we'll just start pulling all of our forces. If we can make this work, though, that'll be just fantastic. And we'll just try to encircle and destroy that one American force, one Yankee force. I'm not too happy that they're sieging out our country, but we can avoid... We'll just try to avoid the worst consequences of that. They do have 5% war score in their favor right now, which isn't much, but it is potentially a sign of bad times to come. Alright, and we'll merge this army and we'll split it in half. And just go send some of those forces right there. Alright, Baltimore seems to be the new battle location. we will leave behind a couple groups, send the rest forward, send this group back. And it looks like they're trying to come in and just attack our army that we left behind, which makes sense. And that was actually something I didn't really consider, which could be problematic. But we won the Battle of Baltimore, so we can just circle right on back. And now we'll just win that out loud, or at least we should. Go and hunt down that group of cavalry. Alright, and that's also going to be a problem. We might be able to win this battle in the mountains, but we really need to get the rest of our forces free to come and reinforce. Alright, unfortunately that army is still alive to some degree, so we have to wait a day. We'll send this one group of 10,000 after it, and the rest of our armies we will pull back and bring to the mountains, because that's going to be the next major battle. Now there are a lot of American forces there, and I'm going to keep saying American. Well, I guess I am. So there's a lot of Yankee forces all in this area. We just kind of lost vision of them. But as long as we can just keep winning the battles and keep our forces in a small enough area that we have local supremacy, then we should be fine. We're also going to try to roll around and... Well, no. Okay, we have an option. We can move... Okay, we're getting out of here. That is terrible. October 9th, October 11th. Alright, we're just going to pool all these forces together and get out of there. Hopefully, we can convince the Americans to just go reinforce their... Oh, yeah, okay, it looks like they are. Okay, this is going to be difficult. I don't think we're going to win out loud in the sense that we'll be able to encircle and destroy their military, but we're definitely going to win a major victory if they keep shoveling forces into this fight. Do we have any good defense generals? Well, not anyone who's really amazing, but we do have good defensive generals. Right now, a good defense general is not in charge of that army, so we need to get one in there now. J.E.B. Stewart is currently leading. Oh, okay, it's a significant force, so we can't just move that out. Alright, now Thomas Jackson's in command. That is good news. That +2 to defense is great. The Yankees have +3 in attack. But we do have the terrain. Alright, so this looks to be going decently well, and I thought those forces would go reinforce there. Oh, awesome. Okay, so first of all, they are just occupying us, which is really the most problematic thing that could be occurring, since if they just occupy our territory, we will straightforward lose the war. And they have enough forces that they can do that and sustain major losses like they're about to right now. We really have to encircle and destroy one of their forces, or we're not going to win. It's not really enough to just win the battles. We need to destroy their army, and I'm not sure just how well we'll be able to do that. Let's take a look at our forces. It looks like we're getting our dragoons. The artillery, we're getting a bit of artillery. Okay, so we might be able to make this work. I was thinking we might switch to irregulars, even though they're not very effective in combat. They would be able to be used as forces to just surround Yankee armies. And if they surround the Yankee armies, then we'll be able to just destroy them. So they'll just kind of be like a support force, not really anything particularly great, but just enough, hopefully, to make it so that these battles are actually meaningful, because we can have a good army and lose the war because we don't destroy their armies. So it'll be good to have the irregulars. Alright, and these forces we will send around and try to encircle the Yankee force. I'm actually very hesitant to do this because that 34 stack will just destroy all those small armies. Hopefully, though, they'll go and reinforce, and that would help us out quite a bit. And we'll just start pulling back all these terribly undermanned groups and just wait till the end of the month to reinforce. Every time the month ticks over, basically just reinforces all of your armies. It's basically a big thing in all the Paradox games, and they are going to reinforce, which is great news for us. If we can get that stack in there as well, then we can just focus on getting all of the irregulars we're building now, to just encircle the army, and then we should be, well, really in the best spot we could possibly be in, or something near that. So we'll just run in more forces, keep numerical superiority, and we'll just have to keep remembering to cycle our forces out. And unfortunately, this army is not joining and reinforcing their allies or their comrades. So that is problematic, but not devastatingly so. And we can start to encircle their force now because it looks as though they're just going to stay. So what's awesome is we can retreat into enemy provinces that don't have an enemy army on them, so we can actually retreat around them and prevent them from retreating afterwards. Which is a really cool, if moderately gamey tactic. Although I guess it isn't really gamey. But it is just kind of... The AI won't do that, so it's being unfair to the AI in that regard, since they just aren't capable of making those sorts of decisions. Yet, we're basically punching above our weight, so I guess you could say that it's reasonable. Basically, we're doing stuff that wouldn't work in multiplayer, is what I'm saying. Alright, and let's see. We'll split that group in half and get that encirclement completely going. Now, this could work out in another way, which would be fairly nice, which would just be that we have the potential to get that army in there as well. Oh, and it looks like we're going to lose these forces. They will be there on the 4th. We can't get out until the 5th. Alright, well, I'm just going to disband those groups. And we will build whatever we can back up of just irregulars. And hopefully they won't come there. Alright, we'll just pull back, get our forces away from there if we can. January 11th, January 9th. Okay, cool, we can get these guys out of here. I'm not sure where those troops are going to go. We're going to take a significant hit to our population, which is not ideal. But, you know, it's not something we can really avoid either. Bowling Green on the 15th, on the 13th, okay. Alright, so we are still winning that battle, which is great. Okay, they are going to send in the rest of their army, it looks like. Oh, and we did get caught. Yeah, we should probably be moving these forces away. Even though that is a nice rally point and it is in the mountains, it's not something that can really be feasibly maintained. So we'll just get our forces as far away from that army as we can, and we'll just try to make it so that they focus more on getting their forces into Roanoke than anywhere else. I wonder if we can get this army to retreat in time to take over at the end of the month. It doesn't look like it. It seems like February would be the time. Well, we're still going to try to get them out of there, and hopefully they'll reinforce somewhat. Yeah, Battle of Knoxville was just outright lost. Kelly's Irish Brigade. Lose 1, war exhaustion. We'll go ahead and do that. Alright, and all these forces will just keep away from the Yankee army as best we can. They are starting to just roll on through, and they are in the mountains now, which is really problematic. And they just have a lot of troops. The British should be helping us, though. Let's take a look. Second War of American Independence, currently -1 due to battles, which is not great. They have 69 brigades, which is something like 240,000. Wait, yeah, 240,000 men. So that's not great. Or, I mean, they would be 240,000 men if they were all at max strength, which obviously they're not, but they're still probably going to be a considerable threat. Nevertheless, we can hopefully just maintain. And I really wish we could encircle this force. What we will do, we'll leave behind a couple groups, and we'll just bring this army around. We'll go ahead and set up Charleston as a new rally point. a little bit further from the front lines. And we'll send these forces around to probably just Greensville. Alright, and we'll do mostly an encirclement. They're about to just leave this battle and just kind of give up on it. Is really my assumption. And we'll just roll around. Alright. Oh, are they going to reinforce? Alright, cool. They're going to Roanoke to reinforce. So we're going to pull this group in and actually join the fight. The rest of their forces hopefully are out fighting the British. So we can actually encircle them. This is going to be great. Roanoke on March 16th. March 24th, alright. Get these troops around. Alright, so that group will stay there. This group will make it all the way to Bowling Green. And the rest of these troops are going to have to get to Knoxville very quickly. Pull out all the terribly undermanned brigades. Oh, and here we go again with one of these moments where our troops are just going to get smashed apart. March 24th, March 22nd. Alright, we can get out of there. Hopefully they focus on reinforcing rather than just taking out all of our surrounding forces. Oh no, they're going after us. Alright, that is kind of good because it means we'll be more likely to win the battle. It's obviously not ideal because it does mean that we won't be able to encircle them, and that's really the more strategic objective. Nevertheless, we'll just keep pulling forces into the fight. And we'll just keep retreating away from them. Alright, more socialist? Sure, we're going to need socialism later on in order to just press for a few key reforms, mainly just education and healthcare. Education because we need the literacy for our economy, and healthcare because we want more people so that we just have more bodies in the factories. Yeah, so they're trying to hit us in Ashenville, which makes some sense. Alright, we can get out on the 14th, so that's good. We'll do that and just try to avoid a battle. Alright, pull everyone away. Atlanta. Alright, they'll get there on the 20th. Or we'll get out on the 20th, they'll get there on the 24th. And really, the further we pull them away, the more likely we are to be able to encircle what they have left. So we're probably just going to, keep the encirclement going as best we can, pull these forces away as far as we can, and I feel like once they realize they're going to lose that, they're going to try again. Oh wait, no, okay, they're just going to siege. That's risky for us. Or, that's not risky for us, that's, that puts us in a risky sort of situation. We'll just retreat that army over to Lexington. They won't be able to reinforce as well. But it should work decently towards our objectives. Let's see. We'll break off some dragoons and irregulars. The irregulars will send to Knoxville. The dragoons we will rely on their speed to get them to Bowling Green. And we're going to have to really reinforce Asheville. Asheville. Alright, and if we win this battle in the next few days, then we're going to be pretty set. Let's try to convince that army not to go there. We didn't succeed. Alright, we'll leave one very undermanned group to maintain the defense of Asheville. They're probably just going to get smashed by that 35 stack. That's okay. That's acceptable losses for what we're trying to achieve. Because we'll manage to defend that, they'll probably go up and then they'll reinforce. Yeah, they're making their way to Asheville right now. And we'll just try to get everyone else as far away as we can while still being, at least relevant somewhat. So, worst case, they break into Asheville, which they'll do fairly soon, in 3, 2... Alright, we won in Bowling Green, which isn't the key battle. So we'll actually go ahead and just disband this undermanned brigade. They're going into Roanoke, which is fantastic news. On the 5th, we'll get there on the 11th. They'll get there on the 5th, so we'll hold off. Get them there on the 6th. And yeah, it looks like we're going to just smash their entire army and just win the war. If we get a guy there, and there we go. Alright, yes, oh, and I accidentally closed the pop-up too soon, but key event, Mexico declared war on the United States. They're going to try to take their cores. The British are also at war with the United States. The Americans, or the Yankees, are fighting basically the entire continent. We're going to survive this. We are going to win this war. Almost certainly. I mean, oh, look at this. I almost just destroyed the entire strategy. We'll drop that one group off in Knoxville so they can't escape. And yeah, Mexico's mobilizing. They'll start taking over that front. The British are actually being effective in the northeast, which is great news. And their army there is just falling apart. So yeah, this is all going incredibly well if we can just pull off victory in this battle, which it looks like we're actually slightly trending towards a loss in. Who is our current military general? Okay, so Robert E. Lee is currently in command, so we don't want to retreat his force. We will pull back some of our other forces that are just too damaged. We're never going to sign the Geneva Convention because of the lowered infamy reduction. It's just not really worth it. And yeah, we'll just hope for the best right now. We're really lucky that they attacked in such a way that they also have a river crossing. And it says that the battle is still slightly favoring the Union forces, although hopefully we'll be able to just keep siphoning forces in and out and get that to favor us eventually. Do we have any other defensive generals? Weirdly enough, no. So Ely might have to stay in that battle, despite the fact that it's not really ideal. Alright, because this guy has the only other defensive bonus, so we'll have to keep Ely in at least for a while. But as long as we can just prolong the battle, we are in a good spot. So after the end of this month, this army will reinforce a bit, we'll shovel them back in, and we'll get Ely's army out. That really didn't reinforce at all. Okay, we can't actually do that. Alright, but we are starting to we are trending towards victory. These forces are, thank God, moving to fight the Mexicans instead of breaking this army out. Whole bunch of news from the rest of the world, but none of it's too relevant to us right now. We'll take a look at the rest of the world later on and just see what became of it. But for now, our world is Roanoke. Yep. Anyway, though, it looks like we're going to win this. Just outright. I don't think there's anything that the Yankee forces are going to be able to do to withstand. And once they break, that's it. The United Kingdom is adding a war goal to acquire New England. And that's just fantastic news for us. So what I'm going to do is, once we win this battle, which, there we go, we won it. We lost a mere 100,000 people. They lost 180,000. Apparently we had no artillery in that battle whatsoever, which is, whoops, we actually built some that was just chilling outside of the battle. But anyway, this is going to be the end point for this first episode. And after here, we're going to split things off into two different directions. The first direction is going to be we're going to make peace. We're going to make peace with the United States and do that whole, we're going to just shine forth by the light of our own virtue sort of path. And the other is going to be a much darker sort of route, where we're going to just completely occupy the United States, stay in the war forever. And then at the end of it, I'm going to really just try to calculate out which is the more effective strategy. And in that way, we will discover the ethics of Victoria 2. And I'm just kind of going to ramble after that. But yeah, we're going to find out the most successful ethical approach in the context of Victoria 2. So yeah, that should be interesting. I hope you'll enjoy it. And thank you very much for watching.